on my dendrobium spring pollen, we can see that its habit of growth, it's quite unruly, and dendrobium nobiles, when they do have quite a few canes, they don't require anymore the back bulbs, the back canes, let's say, and because the canes from the front side are basically leaning over, the plant is quite unstable. So the first thing that I want to do, it is to remove these Keikis from the canes that I will actually completely remove. So I don't really care if I make big wounds on them. Look how many roots she has. This Keiki is pretty much ready to be potted in some moss, and it is in active growth, so it will do very fine. And by the way, this is a Keiki which initially it was a bloom, and then it started to push up roots and then the leaves. So this is pretty much how it grows. Quite interesting. It's like the Keiki would have produced a bloom from the bottom part of it. Alright, so the Keikis which have roots will get potted and pretty much shipped in my orchid giveaway. By the way, if you missed the video where I announced it, I have a giveaway going on, so you can still go and leave a message in that video, and you will be counted in for it. And Schwerter is indeed giving a 25 euros voucher for Europe, and I am giving some ebooks for how to clone orchids for USA, Canada, Australia, all these countries where I didn't find actually sponsor. So another thing that I think, or actually I will just untie them, or just cut the ties so I can better visualize what I'm doing. These taller canes didn't grow properly, and I can just cut them. So because I am not planning to repot this orchid, I will just cut them about 10 centimeters above the base of the pot. I think I am not in frame. So I will cut the canes that I don't want anymore from the base, and later on, when the orchid will be bigger in size, will have more canes, I will actually remove this. But if I would be able to remove, if I would remove these stumps at this point, I will divide actually the orchid. So I want the rhizome to still be connected in between the pseudobulbs, so they can still transfer energy from one to the other. This orchid is quite a drinker. If my other orchids which are in semi-hydro are being watered once every 4 to 5 days, this orchid needs to be watered once every 2 days. That is how fast she is consuming the water and nutrients from the reservoir. And I think I pretty much done what I was most interested in. Another thing that I need to do, it is to remove all the Keikis, or any possible Keiki, because those only, look, these canes don't have any more energy in them because they are quite dehydrated. They don't have any more leaves. They have bloomed from all the nodes, so they are of no use for me. Of course, if you try to put them in some moss, of course you will be able to propagate them, but I'm not interested in that. Here I have another Keiki with a little root, but I think I won't just bother with this. I think I have enough Keikis, so I will just snap the Keikis. This orchid did produce so many Keikis because when she was supposed to receive her winter rest, she actually didn't have roots, and or had very few roots, like 5 centimeters of fruits, so that made me want to fertilize it so she can properly grow roots and everything she needs. So because she has received nutrients when she should have not receive nutrients and actually be winter rest, she should have received lower temperatures, and she should have been watered very rarely with no fertilizer. I was actually watering her and fertilizing her and keeping her as moist as I could. Now she is producing cakes for me. So right now this orchid is a sort of a Keiki machine. So I want to bring all these canes backwards to actually stick them to these stakes, and yeah, see if I can manage to actually make her grow a bit more straight. So this is a pretty good time for me to arrange them. I have some of the canes which did grow rather weird, but that is that. And I think now some of them should go more in the back. This is a rather laborious process, but it's quite nice when you have an orchid to make sure it grows quite tidy and nice for you, that it doesn't occupy too much space. So this is very much what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to watch every node. If it is growing at this point, I will just remove it, because I want the orchid to focus on energy and on growing new growths, on pushing up all the energy towards the new growths and not towards the old ones, let's say, not towards keikis nor blooms. Okay, so I will take some ties now, and what I want to do is to bring the taller canes here on the stake. I will try to straighten them up for a bit. They are rather flexible, so you should not worry. But when you use garden ties made from strings like this, you should not insist too much, let's say. So you just want to gently make sure that they stay in their place. It is best to use raffia tape if you have. I don't have any, so I am doing what I can. It is already looking much nicer in my opinion, but I am not still finished. And a very interesting thing, my dendrobium nobile, you can see that the leaves are quite long and are not wide, not as wide as other nobiles, and this is because my orchid, it is used to stay in very high light, and orchids which are used to receive very high amounts of light, they do use to grow the leaves less wide, because that is a very good way for them to ensure that they will actually not burn. So that is I believe quite interesting. And I actually have you know that I bought 2 dendrobium nobiles this spring. They were in bloom. The leaves are double in size, double in width, and those leaves, or I put all the orchids outdoors, yeah, so those leaves did burn, but these leaves from this dendrobium nobile that are less wide, they did not burn. These from the tips are just burns from when the orchid didn't had enough roots, so that is a common occurrence. But she does not have sunburns. These are burns from lack of roots and I think a bit of over fertilizing, but then she does not have any sunburns. But the other dendrobiums do have quite a few sunburns. And now let's show to you. So in the spring she was completely rootless. I think I left 3 roots that were this big, and I didn't thought they were alive, but I just left them. And what do you know, those branched out, and the new Keikis, the new shoots did push up quite a lot of fruits, and now she is absolutely rootless. I'm not sure how much you can see, but I have roots all the way to the bottom even. Let's try to show to you this. I hope you can see that here it's full of fruits. So yeah, I need to water this orchid again. I water all the orchids 2 days ago. She is already dry, and I am not supposed to leave this pot dry, so this is how fast this orchid drinks her water. So now that I have removed these ugly canes, I can just throw them in the bin, and I want to spray the orchid with hydrogen peroxide because I have a few wounds, and I want to sterilize the cuts. So I will just do so. Not too much, just a bit, like so. And at the base, here where I have actually cut the canes, I will insist a bit more. Those are the ones that I am actually interested in sterilizing more consciously, let's say. So I will also use a bit of cinnamon on them. I will take a Q-tip, dip it in a bit of cinnamon, shake it up so it won't go in places where I don't want, like on the roots, and just gently put a little bit on the wounds where I have cut the canes, because those are quite big wounds, and I don't want to risk any infections. Just a bit on each, and in 3 days I think those will be completely sealed off. And as you can see, it's super easy. In the past, in spring I think, or autumn, I don't really remember, I have removed some other canes, and these are these stumps in here which are a bit yellow. These are just dead, they are not rotten in any way, they are stiff, they are just there. And when I will have time to repot this orchid into a bigger pot, I will completely remove these stumps. But if I would remove them now, my orchid would most probably remain in divisions of 1 or 2 canes, and we don't want that. So look how pretty now she looks. I think yeah, indeed it looks a lot better. And now I will put actually I will first water her because she doesn't have any more water, and she will go again outdoors. She does like her sunlight, and she's quite a happy plant. I'm happy that finally she is well rooted. When I have lost the old roots, that was because I put her in Ceramis or Ceramis and Leca, the keramzit one, the 6 to 8 millimeters one. So after 1 year, all the roots from all the orchids died in that environment. So This is why I do like now to use just plain bigger leca, perfectly round one. So alrighty guys, now I will put the Keikis in some moss, and they will go to the giveaway. And if you have any questions, any suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below, and I will be more than happy to answer them for you. Thank you very much for watching, and see you all next time. Bye!